Okay. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of Hamilton City Council for February 26th, 2020. It's a little after 6 o'clock. We're here in City Council Chambers, 345 High Street in Hamilton. Do a roll call, please.
Pullman,
Present.
Fear,
Present.
Vaughn,
Present.
Ryan,
Here.
Nab, Brown,
Here.
Moeller.
Present. I'll set the motion to excuse Councilmember Nab for reasons known to council.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. We will now have an offering of prayer by Councilmember Susan Vaughn, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you are able.
Please join us for a moment of silent prayer and reflection, followed by the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have one special presentation this evening. It's a natural gas report presentation brought to us by the Department of Public Works.
All right, Mayor and members of council, thanks for having us tonight. We wanted to do a sort of an overview of the natural gas outage that occurred on January 16th through the 20th. Give you some actions of how it happened, why it happened, and then how we plan to prevent these in the future. So just a summary, we had a 2-inch, oh, I'm flipping the wrong, there we go. We had a 2-inch HDPE pipe burst water main that inevitably cut through a natural gas medium pressure line and infiltrated our natural gas system. And if you look at the screen, you can see that all the area in red were affected customers, and so you can see most of it was on Main Street and a few blocks either side of it, sort of contained by D and E, and that's really the affected area. And so for the timeline, it started on Thursday. We lost our first customer, and as these things sort of occur, water continues to flow through the system, and then you hit this peak, and so at our peak, we lost roughly 69 customers, and then by Monday, we had everybody back in service, but substantial restoration on Sunday through Monday. And I'm going to turn it over to my team so they can walk you through some of the actions that they went through to get the system restored.
I'm Andy Flume, Superintendent, Gas and Water. And then Steve Sams.
Dennis Schneider.
We got the first call Thursday evening. Crews showed up on site. We weren't sure of the situation at that point. We just knew that there was a couple customers without gas. Opened up the curb valves, found water, opened up the main, found out there was water in the main, so it started at that point isolating. Sometime in the, I guess it'd be early morning on Friday, the regulator pit at Park and Wayne started blowing water out of the relief. At that point, we knew that there was water in the medium pressure, it wasn't just the distribution. So your first step is to start isolating, try to keep it from spreading beyond where it already is. So we started on Park Avenue, worked our way down to B Street, went down C Street, D Street, and opened it up at E. There was no water up there. And then we started moving towards Main Street and Ross Avenue. We had a total of, I believe, 42 excavations in the road. And from that point, once we know we have it stopped from spreading, that's when you start opening up the lines and pigging. We use what's called it's a foam pig. You have to go block by block, so there was 21 lines that had to be pigged, counting the medium pressure. You push it through with air to try to push the water out. You do it a couple times to get as much of the moisture out as you can. You never get 100%, but over time that will dry out. And then you start cutting the services out. You have to blow the services from the inside out, make sure it's all clear, and also clear them in the roadway. On Main Street, to avoid cutting holes, we actually blew air on the services from the inside of the building all the way out to the main, and then pigged it extra times to get that extra water out. By Sunday night, I think, or Saturday night, we had all of Park Avenue back in service. And by Sunday night, we had all of Main Street back in, except for a couple that we finished up on Monday morning. It was Sunday before we found the actual leak, because it had to be a process of elimination to figure out exactly where it was coming from. We knew it was on Park Avenue, we knew it was above the regulator pit, so we started sounding every single service until we heard one leaking, and this one was roaring. Excavated, again, it was HDPE, it happened to be just, the split was perfectly center of the pipe, and that water pressure was enough to drill a hole through the plastic gas main. It's not something that happens very often, and actually the RLA contractor we had come in and assist us because it was just way too much for us. I talked to a couple of their guys that had been in the business for 40 years. One of them worked for Duke for 28 years. He said, never seen it get into a high pressure main like it did there. So it was a shock to everybody, but it happened. So we renewed the water service, and come 6:30, I started sending all the crews home on Monday, and last of us left about 8 o'clock. We had one more service to get back and try to get it done. Anybody got anything to add? I will say that I had pretty much my entire team was working around the clock. I had 7 guys that actually worked from the start, 7 o'clock Friday morning until 6 o'clock Monday. They worked nonstop. And a lot of them, they go home for a few hours, come back in, work 12 hours, and go home. Steve worked all night, and then Dennis and I would work basically from sun up to sundown until Steve was able to make it in.
Mr. Flume, do you have the names of the people, those 7 folks who pretty much worked
We-
around the clock?
Yeah.
If you know them right now,
Brian Short. I can't. Ray Briscoe worked nonstop.
Littles.
Yeah, Jansen Little and Jared Little. I think it was late Friday or Sunday before we sent him home. Cody Moore. I can't think of the others.
but the water pressure drilled right into
Correct.
the
And
gas.
normally what happens when you have a water leak is it'll start coming up a crack in a pavement or something like that first. That's why nobody found this leak, because it was following a sand ditch, and then eventually it just pushed in and it just started filling up the main. It filled up all the way down to, actually, in the medium pressure, it got all the way down to A Street, running along the riverbank. So that's why the Henry Long Towers, we lost them. There was only 2 medium pressure services, Henry Long Towers and the apartments on Park Avenue. But luckily, they had electric heat. They didn't have, they were only out in hot water.
I'd like to just add, the speed, and I know it's not real clear us talking about it and trying to step you through the outage timeline and everything, but the speed with which our guys found this, isolated it, and put it all back in service is unreal. Really, it's probably unheard of in our industry, because they have to go out, seek it, confine it, clear everything out, and then put it back in service. And there is a lot of steps that are involved in doing all that. So, I commend the guys that came in and worked like they did. Luckily, RLA was there to support us. But to get those people, 69 people back in service in a couple days is a fantastic job.
It sounds like underground surgery or something like that.
Yeah, because every intersection that we cut, we have what's called mechanical squeeze-offs put over the pipe, and you actually have to squeeze the pipe to get the flow of gas to stop, get the flow of water to stop if it's water. So, it's a lot of work.
Great job of being responsive and being successful.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions for Jim or Bloom? Guys?
Like to think.
Yeah,
Just
Good.
just a few more. So after an event like this, we hold what's called an after-action review, which is basically an assessment of what went well and what could have gone better. And out of that assessment, we come out with a lot of recommendations on how we can improve our response time or prevent these types of things. And so just to name a few, obviously we need to replace the HDPE pipe in the water system. That's a long-term goal. We're going to start conducting leak surveys of all the pipe that's in the system so we can see if there's leaks right now that we're just unaware of. Start increasing some critical equipment and spares. Incorporate drips into engineering design criteria. Right now we do have drips in the system, but we're going to add significantly more to low spots. So if you do get water in the line, rather than digging up the holes, you essentially just blow off the water or pump it out. We're in the midst of doing a SCADA improvement, and if we have that in place, it'll help us isolate and find these things faster. And then lastly, and you'll see this at the end of the slide, we've investigated basically a new gas supply contract to, so this obviously is a major financial hit to the utility, and we're still working on the final costs there, but in the midst of that, we've gone and renegotiated a new gas contract that's on the council agenda tonight for a lower rate, so we can try to stop that rate from getting passed on to the customers. And so it's a good improvement for us. So really, if you look at a root cause analysis, again, it just goes back to the HDPE pipe failure and the disinfectant that we use that's slowly degrading that over time, which we've talked about in other meetings. So when we talk about the PIG, which you'll hear used very dearly in our department, it's really just it's like a plug that you put into a system. Pipeline inspection gadget is what it's called. And again, there's all sorts of different types of them. The one that we use is sort of a dumb pig, a foam piece. I don't know if that video will work or not.
Oops, cut the sound off, right?
If not, we'll turn it off. Okay, so this will show you, it's a little bit granulated, but that's the end of one pipe on the left. And in just a few seconds, what you'll start to see is a massive amount of water start to come out. And what's happening is the pig is being pushed through the system, and there it is. And then you'll see the pig come out at one end in just a minute. And so there's the foam plug sort of floating in the pool now. And so you have to do that multiple times to try to drive as much water out as you can. But when we say we're pigging a line, that's really what's happening. And then drips, we hit pause now. Drips are really just what you think of. You have basically your horizontal gas line, and then you put a low spot into it, and then that smaller pipe that's sort of curled up in that picture, you can pump water directly out of it rather than having to excavate holes and use the clamps to pinch things off and cut lines. So again, that'll start going into more of our designs as we move forward. And lastly, we really want to say thank you to some community partners. I mean, it's all hands on deck when this happens. The Fitness Center offered warming stations for us. You might remember those were the first cold days of winter. And we've got some elderly people that, kids, things like that, where we've got to keep people warm. They offered up their services. Courtyard Marriott did the same. We actually put up about 20 families into the hotel over 2 nights. And so a good service by Courtyard. Holiday Inn Express was our backup plan in Fairfield. And then RAL Utilities, I think within a few hours of the phone call, brought over 30 people.
Yeah, they had over 30 people and a lot of equipment in less than 2 hours time.
Yeah.
Jim, what does water and gas do?
So I'd like to say that it's an experiment in providing combined services, but it's not, right? So really the water, it basically just obstructs gas from getting to the meters. And so once you block the pipe, it has no place to go. And then you can imagine if you have a pressurized line and you inject water into it, it just starts to spread as quickly as it can. And so it essentially stops gas from getting through the lines to the customer and then starts just shutting off everyone's heaters. And then you just start losing your heat essentially.
Yeah, another thing, if it gets in the meters, it will damage meters. We had several meters we had to replace. If it gets beyond that meter, it could get into the furnace, water heater, control valves, and cause problems with that too. So luckily, we were able to catch everything before it got to that point.
Yeah, great job, you guys.
Yeah.
Then again, just a thank you to our crews. And lastly, our new contract with Constellation. So if you look at the current contract, and keep in mind, these are all-in costs. So our current contract was set to expire in 2022. We essentially have extended that 3 years. Our price in that contract was about $3, and it's dropping now to roughly $2.91 per MMBTU, so a good savings, and that's about $730,000 over the course of those 3 years. And we're able to do that because if you look at the forward curve, so this is sort of the historical curve of what's going on in the NYMEX where gas is getting traded, and somewhat of a prediction. So in 2004, when you see all the price differences, that's all the volatility in the market. And going forward, you can see there's a lot of price certainty. And so essentially, we're just taking advantage of that right now. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
A round of applause for these guys. Who got it done. Okay, that now brings us to audience citizens. Individuals who wish to make comments may speak during this part of the agenda or may wish to reserve the right to speak until the item is up for vote on the council floor. Individuals who wish to speak to council are required to sign the blue public speaking book, which I've got in my hand now, and each speaker is allowed up to 5 minutes. First, we have Jim Loneman. He'll come to the podium. Give us your name and your address, please.
Jim Loneman, 701 Pyramid Hill Boulevard, RP 16. Okay, yeah, so, well, first of all, noticed when I was in parking, no stop signs on the four-way stops or four-way intersections in Lindenwold, a bunch of about 4 or 5 I noticed.
So you're stating that there are too many four-way stops?
There's no four-way, there's no stop sign on any corner.
You want the signs to be more visible, I guess?
No, there's no stop sign.
There's none at all. So it's a national free-for-all. I can't.
I haven't seen that, Linda. He talked to me about that earlier, and we were talking about it, but I'd like to know the streets
Well,
of it too.
That's what we asked
Tell
him
you
if
what.
he could come with the streets next time.
Oh, well,
Yeah, that
Jim?
would help a lot.
You know your friend,
Huh?
Rich Engel. I do believe that you can contact Rich. And we'd like to know too on council. I mean, because you've kind of piqued my curiosity if there is something out there where it's,
and also the parking lot, I was talking to one fireman today, he said fire trucks want them one-lane streets, you know, or the streets parking both sides. He said they do bump into cars, you know, they do bump into cars at times.
we're a street of, we're a city of a lot of narrow streets, which
Yes.
has more cars
Parking
than
both
ever
sides.
expected to have on narrow streets. But
Huh?
they do the best that they can do, and they do a
Yeah,
darn
but
good
it's still
job.
bumping the cars. Who would pay for that? Who would pay for that?
People can make a claim, people can do whatever they want to try and do, and usually justice and the right thing ends up happening, so.
You know what I'm saying? And also, I saw another much place too in the world, there's no street signs. I worked in a police place here, I remember that. And I went to police station, there's no streets on there, but my GPS took me there, but the GPS it wouldn't take me there, you know.
Well, that's not a perfect system either, but Jim, thank you very much. Mr. Engel will look into those particular streets if you'll give him the intersections. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny Beckman, you'll come to the podium, give us your name and your address.
I'm Jenny Beckman. My property is 410 Franklin Street. It's an apartment building that has 6 families in it. And you're wanting to vacate the only entryway to that building that has been accessed probably since the 80s when the building was built. And that could potentially block the entry to my apartment building. And I'm not for that.
You came to the last council meeting. I'm not sure if you've talked with Director Liz Hayden since that meeting. but I hope
No,
there's-
we haven't talked since then.
It might be a good idea.
Okay.
We've got the first reading tonight.
Okay.
There's no vote tonight. The next council meeting, there will probably be the second reading and the vote. But I know all of council has driven by it. They're real slow to take a look at it. I know that, got out of their cars. So
Yeah.
we are making ourselves aware of the situation. I'd advise you to contact the Director of Planning, Ms. Hayden, and further discuss what can be done there.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I have 6 families in that building, and, you know, it would be awful if they were to come try to drive in and couldn't because of something being in their way.
we all believe there is some kind of a solution.
Okay,
that
great.
can be done.
All right, that sounds good.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Dan Hancock?
My name's Dan Hancock. I live at 67 Herman Avenue in Hamilton, Ohio. If you're driving down Ray Avenue now, they put signs down there saying that they're going to close Ray Avenue, and it said permanently. And it's even in the paper that they're going to close it permanently. Well, now you drive down there and they covered up the sign permanently, and it doesn't say permanently anymore. Well, today you drive down it again and the sign's changed again, saying that you're not going to close it down the beginning of March on the 2nd. Now you're going to do it on the 9th. Because every time you look at the sign, it's something different, you know. So what's the permanent solution there? And also, the other part about it is, when you close down Ray there, you're going to move the traffic up to the next intersection. There's no traffic light. You got all the people coming down B Street out of New Miami and down off of Washington Boulevard, and how are you going to get out? There's no traffic light. And you still got a traffic light down there at Ray, which won't function, you know. Why have it there? Because you're not going to function anymore. You know, you're just going to create a big nightmare.
Well, Dan, I'll tell you this, I know, and I've seen it myself and heard it myself, city administration's been looking at ways to make that situation easier for our citizens, easier for our visitors to get around. I know earlier this week, or maybe it was actually last week, we looked at Gray, we looked at a lot of other different streets of how to maybe do it in a way that is easier for our citizens to navigate. And I'm not sure if City Manager or Richards want to say anything, but
I'm
where we
happy
stand
to-
right now on that.
to provide a few comments. So let's first address the timing issue. I've been talking to the contractor daily about the March 2nd date, and he said they're going to be moving some steel and some heavy equipment, but they were not going to start moving it until the weekend before March 9th. I asked them to change the date, even though it's just one more week. I felt it would be one less week of inconvenience to the area residents. So it was at my direction today that they moved it to the March 9th date. You are correct. Once it shuts down, it will be shut down permanently.
Why did you take the sign off saying permanently and cover it over?
I'm not aware of why that would have happened.
Well, like I said, it was covered over just the same way as you changed the sign saying from the 2nd to the 9th.
Well, just to be
Yeah.
clear, it's this.
But what I'm
the
trying to
contractor
say, you
went
know,
out
so
there and
people
changed it.
know, because like I said, now it doesn't say permanently, so people don't know it's going to be shut down permanently.
It will be permanently.
So, okay, secondly, though, if you're going to shut it down permanently, you better put temporary traffic lights up at the next street there so people can get out, or otherwise you're going to have like I said, a bottleneck that's going to be really tremendous in the mornings and at night when people are going to work and coming home.
I don't disagree that the intersection of Gordon and B needs to be improved. What that looks like right now, we want to evaluate the traffic patterns and see what actually transpired. We've had conversations with the engineering department about multiple things. Relocating the traffic signal at B and Ray to B and Gordon. We've talked about the potential of the stop signs, because Gray eventually turns into Gordon as you head off of Eaton Avenue. We've evaluated that as an option. But again, we're just guessing at this point until we can actually watch the traffic patterns unfold. But I can promise you that it's something that the engineering department and Public Works are working in tandem on, and they understand that there's going to be some issues that are going to have to be addressed.
Well, the engineering department said they were going to, before they shut down Ray, they were going to fix the street next to it and put in the new street there and that, you know, so when you moved it over, it'd be a lot better, you know, for trucks and stuff like that to get through and cars and that. Well, now you're not going to have the new street ready and that, you know, you waited too long. Now you're going to automatically throw people over there. So like I said, you know, you just are putting the cart before the horse.
Well, let me also, if I may address
Please.
that too, and Mr. Engel, please correct me if this is an inaccurate statement, but the connection, your side, I believe you're talking about at D as you head north to Gordon, or is it the next street, Hunter, that will be the permanent route from Ray Avenue? That will be improved at the same time that the rest of that area is improved. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, Hunter, and then the new street between Hunter and B Street will occur as part of the overall larger project.
So that should be done probably 18 to 24 months from now would be your guess?
Yes, probably this early in 2021.
Okay, 12 months from now.
So you're still going to have a nightmare there for quite a while, but anyway. The other thing is, you said that since you tore up the gas lines there to repair them and that, and then you put down a temporary blacktop over there to facilitate, because you weren't done in the last meeting, and that you said, well, they're in the process of working at putting a permanent layer of blacktop down. Well, it's still not, on Park Avenue, you did a fantastic job, but on Main Street, you still got dips and bumps and that in the road that, is not too good on your vehicle and that.
Well,
But,
Dan, I'm going to say what you heard at the last meeting is true. It's going to get done. It's going to be a good job for our citizens. You've heard about the Ray Avenue. There's a plan, that's kind of a fluid plan, to see what actually will be best based upon traffic flow, number of cars, time of day. So there is a plan, but like a lot of plans, it's got to be a little fluid sometimes, and you got to monitor things. We've got our engineers, our traffic professionals doing that. So, and it's still a winter, and it's difficult to get things totally patched and permanent, but we've got great professionals. You just heard from some of them in gas and water. So what I'm trying to say is just kind of work with us. Things will get better, and I'm sure you'll see that.
And on our fire department there, and that, are all of our fire hydrants up to standard there? If I have a fire at my house, you'll be able to put it out. You won't have any loss of pressure from out of the fire hydrants, because a lot of the areas around here, the fire truck pulls up, hooks up to the fire hydrant and that, and there's not enough pressure to pump to put out the fire in that.
Dan, I tell
So-
you what, I would like to have you talk to Chief Mercer, maybe not right now, because basically the time is over for right now, because we talked about a lot of things during your 5 minutes. But Chief Mercer, I'm sure, will make time to talk with you to answer your question about water pressure throughout this entire city. If you've got a second, Chief Mercer, to give your card to Dan and have a conversation with him, that would be great.
Absolutely. We can do that right now outside.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Yep.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Bob Harris? Name and address, please.
Bob Harris, address 429 South 2nd Street, President of Southeast Civic Association. Good evening to our council and our audience of citizens. And I'd like to welcome those newcomers to council, which I haven't had the opportunity. I've had the opportunity, but I just haven't taken it. But welcome. This evening, I want to start off with, I would like to get an update on the Diversity Commission. And Mayor Moeller, you did mention to me about Rediscover. I'd like to know if we're going to embark on putting that board back together. I also would like to get a count on the total number of employees we have and a breakdown on male, female, African American, Mexican, whatever. I'd like to get that breakdown for an update so that I'm current. Would like to know about that. I also would like to know from Mr. Ingo what streets we're going to get paved in the second ward this year, what we can look forward to. I know that we have a street levy on the table at this time, and that will be something that we will support. Looking there, next, I want to make everyone aware that we're looking forward to having our annual cleanup on June the 6th, which should be the first Saturday of June. And last, I would like to address the city manager. I know that you are meeting with groups, small groups, big groups, intermediate groups. I'd like to get on your schedule so that we can have you come and sit down and have a honest and truthful conversation with us. Also, I would like to talk to you about this arch that we would like in the Second Ward and get started on some plans so that we can raise some money and make that happen.
Well, I count 6 different things. Let's go from 6 to 1. Mr. City Manager, you're going to meet with Bob Harris at some point in time, like you normally open up your doors quite frequently.
Yes.
There you go. Now, I guess you're going to name the place and the time and work it out on the schedules.
Yes.
Thank you for your leadership in the
We
cleanup.
will do that.
You said June the 6th, is that correct?
June the 6th.
Okay, looking forward to that. Streets, Rich Engel, I do believe you normally annually give Bob Harris the streets that are being done across the entire city.
Yes, if you recall, Mayor, we reviewed that list last week, or at the last council meeting, so I can provide that same to Mr. Harris.
If you've got his email address, that would be great. You can send it, and that'd be good, so you can have it on the screen. Data of employees by demographics, is that something that we can supply, Madam Director?
Yes, we can, sir. I
Okay.
can get with Mr. Harris at a later date if you'd like to reach out to me, or I'll do it.
Okay, that sounds
You
good.
could give Mr. Harris your card, that would be a great way to do it.
Certainly, sir.
Thank you. Rediscover Hamilton is actually a Chamber of Commerce, has been a Chamber of Commerce initiative, project, and in a lot of ways, I think it's been developed to a degree into 17 strong, and the Chamber of Commerce, as it is now, which is a different type of Chamber of Commerce than prior to Mr. Bates. I mean, it's, I'm not saying there were good things done through Rediscover, but I think a lot of that's being done now through the Chamber's various activities, as well as through 17 Strong and the discussions that happen at those. As far as diversity and inclusion, I can't tell you right now what their meeting schedule is or what their process is at this point in time. I know we voted on changing the organizational chart, so to speak, of Diversity and Inclusion Commission. And that's about all I know about that right now. So that'll probably be having a meeting and rebuilding here very, very soon.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
did you not bring Rediscover up to me and said that we're looking at it?
I don't believe I said we were looking at it. What I said is we have looked at it, and it's been discussed in the past, and I believe it's been pretty much morphed into various different chamber initiatives, 17 Strong, and so I think a lot of what's getting done and Rediscover is being done in a slightly different way, as well as we have rebuilt and retooled our Economic Development Department to have some new people with certain specialties, neighborhood specialties, and I think you probably have met some of those individuals, and if you haven't, we'll have you introduce you to the Economic Development Department. I mean, I think we've got some new people who are taking the lead in various neighborhood projects, both commercial and residential.
Okay, with our diversity, did we not make a commitment when we put that commission together?
Oh, there's a commitment. It's actually in our ordinances. It is created to be here for the long run, not just for a short run. But there was a reorganization that kind of made more sense, which I think will make it a lot more of a responsive organization.
Then
And
may
I think
I,
what we can do is
Go
we can
ahead.
actually get you that legislation so you can take a look at it. And I think it's probably the best way to do it is, instead of this dialogue now, is let's get you that legislation where we reorganize diversity and inclusion. Mr. City Clerk, can you get Mr. Harris that ordinance where we reorganized the diversity and inclusion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it was passed just this January, and currently we are soliciting new applicants for the Diversity Inclusion Commission. That application period just opened up on Thursday.
Great.
I know there was an article in the Journal newspaper today regarding
Great.
the issue, so we are currently seeking applications. Apply online.
It's a real building, and it's stronger and more responsive than ever. I mean, organizations kind of have to grow and change, and that's what that seems to be doing right now. All right?
Mr. Mayor, one last question.
Sure.
Did we have a measuring stick for progress that we've made that we can identify before moving forward to restructure again?
I tell you what, I'm going to reserve making comment on that until you get a chance to see how it's been reorganized. I value your opinion. I want you to comment on it to me directly, or any of these council members up here. I'd be curious to see what you think about the reorganization. So we'll get that to you, and then at a later meeting, or in a later date, contact me, contact anybody on council. We'd like to hear your opinion about what you think about the kind of organizational chart the way it is now.
I thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
We now go to the consent agenda. That includes approval of minutes, all staff reports, receive and file council information, caucus reports, information report, including January 2020 monthly financial report and the January 2020 monthly investment report. But first, before we have any kind of votes regarding the caucus agenda and the like, we're going to have a committee of the whole, and that allows council to consider the reports that are in the caucus agenda. And city council may ask questions, provide direction, give comment, learn more. And it's a chance also for the audience to learn more as well as council proceeds with any kind of questions. And that's when we all listen to the presentations. So I'll set the motion, the regular meeting be recessed, the committee of the whole take place.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Councilmember Fear. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. We go into committee of the whole at 6:38. And I'm not sure who all the presenters are, but we can go right down a list right now, see who we have here and what presentations they are going to be. Looks like the first one has to do with application for a new liquor permit for Pinball Garage. The second one, I think you'll also probably take two as well. Is that correct, Mr. Garugas? That involves a liquor permit for Mona Lisa's. And the third one involving a liquor permit for a Minix drive-through. So if you can do those first three, generally or specifically.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you are correct. Number one is a recommendation relative to an application for a new liquor permit for Pinball Garage LLC, 113 North 3rd Street, Hamilton, Ohio, 45011. They are far enough in the process now to apply for a D5J liquor permit. This is a conversion clearly from the old Goodyear to the Pinball assembly and bar that will be opening up. Health, fire, and building have no objections at this time.
Great, great.
Number two, recommendation relative to an application for a new liquor permit for Mona Lisa's Permanent Makeup and Training Center, LLC, DBA Mona Lisa's, 24 South 2nd Street, Hamilton, Ohio, 45011. This is currently the lounge that is open. This is basically just a subtle change to their liquor permit that I believe the applicant and the state have been working on. There's no real changes on our end, so there are no objections from any city departments.
Thank you.
And number three is a recommendation relative to an application for a liquor permit transfer from Sally's Drive-Thru LLC at 535 Andover Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 45015 to Multnix Inc., DBA Mimics Drive-Thru 535 Andover Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 45015. This is not a new liquor permit. Unlike the first two, this is actually just a transfer, so it is a change in the official permit holder of ownership. So health, fire, and building have made inspections, and there are no objections at this time.
Great. Thank you for those reports. Any questions by council on 1, 2, or 3? Go to number 4. Has to do with disposition of properties on Washington Street. Give us your name and
Yeah, I'm Lauren. I am oversee sort of their liaison to the land bank on city staff. So we have a couple of land bank properties that are large enough for new infill build. So typically our land bank lots are available as side lots to homeowner occupants who live immediately adjacent, but there are some lots that are large enough for new infill for the construction of a new single-family house. So we looked at a number of properties, and a list of 5 or 6 properties were sent to neighborhood housing services, and they came back and they're interested in 2 of those lots at this time. So that's 2 of the reports that you're seeing today. This is one at the corner there of Minster and Lane Street. And the 2 photos that you see are a home that NHS recently completed on Bennyhoffen and Lindenwald. And so the idea would be that new infill projects on these lots, if they were transferred to NHS, would have a similar end product on the vacant land.
great.
So this is one of them, and then I believe the next one should be the same. On Washington Street, but exact same scenario.
Great. Any questions at all? Thank you for your report.
Sure. I think
Number
one
6.
more. Yep. So this is the vacant lot. If you are at Village Parlor Ice Cream, just to the west, there's that big green grassy space. It's 4 parcels. 324 that you see on that map is actually in the land bank's name. The middle 2 parcels are in the city's name. And then 316, just to the east of the city's parcel, is in Core's name. And so the thought is that these parcels, all of the entities have been in conversation and are taking steps to transfer these to the CIC so that ownership is in one name for the potential future development to be able to better market that lot.
Great.
So this is just a report to make a motion for the city's own portion of that to be transferred to the CIC.
Great. Any comments, council, or questions? And number 7, 205 North B Street. Sure, who has that? Anybody have any kind of questions for administration about agenda, Cox agenda item number 7?
Is it a vacant lot? I drove by there. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Was there a building or is there still a building?
Picture in our
Yeah,
package, I couldn't exactly tell myself, but it looks like to be vacant. Is that it?
that's what it looks like
It used to be a building.
now.
Maybe 2 years ago it was taken down.
Okay. All right, that's what I was confused, whether it was next to it, but I didn't believe it was. So it's just that corner.
So caucus agenda item number 7, 205 North B Street. Apologize, there seems to be an issue with the slide. However, this is the actual property site as it is now. A few years ago, the city had to take immediate action to demo a old brick structure that was of immediate collapse. Upon that, now there was some foreclosure issues on that property, and the owner has decided to just deed it to the city in lieu of that. So this is the current state of the property. There is no immediate danger on it anymore, and they are just going to present it to the city.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Any other questions about 7? 8, about the ODOT traffic signal upgrade.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Rich Engel, Director of Engineering. This intersection at Grand Boulevard and South Erie Boulevard, also known as Route 4, was identified by ODOT District 8 as a intersection that need traffic signal improvements made, traffic signal upgrades. And it's a part of a project that ODOT has identified in Southwest Ohio with 5 other intersections. So their plan is to evaluate the traffic signals, provide new yellow backplates on the traffic signals. The LED lights have already been changed on this signal by our crews, and then they're going to install a protected left turn for the intersection, and evaluate whether the mast arms need replaced or not. This is 100% funded by ODOT. The city is not contributing any funds to this project. However, as part of ODOT's requirements, they need to have the city enter into provide a resolution accepting the fact that they're going to work within the city limits. We have done this previously on other ODOT projects, and so that's the start of the legislation.
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you for working so well with ODOT and getting these no-cost projects to our town.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, that takes care of the caucus agenda review. I'll accept the motion that the committee of the whole be closed.
Moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Brown, second by Councilmember Vaughn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. Committee of the whole is closed at 6:47. I'll accept the motion that the regular meeting be reconvened.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Councilmember Fear. Roll call vote that regular meeting be reconvened.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted 6-0.
Accept the motion, and with the exception of any items noted, Council receive the reports of the consent agenda and concur in their recommendations.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Brown. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that motion is carried. Now go to council actions pertaining to legislative items, and I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear.
I move that a note be made upon the minutes that each member of council was furnished a printed copy of each item of legislation prior to its being considered at this meeting.
Councilmember Fear, second by Vice Mayor Pullman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. We go to pending legislation, agenda item number 2, second reading of an ordinance involving CDBG and home funds.
An ordinance approving the City of Hamilton's annual action plan update for fiscal year 2020 through 2021, delineating the statement of objectives of the proposed use of Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, and Home Investment Partner Program funds, and authorizing the submittal of said plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, City of Hamilton applicants.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Ryan. Any discussion or comments about this agenda item? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted 6-0.
We go to second reading, emergency ordinance involving longevity pay.
An emergency ordinance amending section 181.15 of chapter 181 of the codified ordinances of the City of Hamilton, Ohio regarding longevity pay and repealing section 181.15 as it currently exists.
Mayor,
Vice Mayor Pullman.
make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second. Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Councilmember Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted 6-0.
Let the record reflect that the titles of all these ordinances and resolutions are on the screen in our council chambers. We go to new legislation, first reading of an ordinance involving conditional use approval for 1301 Grand Boulevard.
An ordinance granting a conditional use certificate and approval for 1301 Grand Boulevard for multifamily residential with the first floor commercial space, property located in a B-2 community business zoning district situated in the 5th Ward, City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio. Community Design Alliance applicant. Community Design Alliance applicant on behalf of Generate Investment Groups, LLC, property owner.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, first reading of an ordinance about vacating portions of the right-of-way, South Hamilton Crossing area.
An ordinance vacating portions of the right-of-way at South Hamilton Crossing, SHX, project area including Grand Boulevard, Dixie Highway, Central Avenue, East Avenue, Marshall Avenue Alley, and Pleasant Avenue Alley, situated in the 6th Ward, North Side, City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio. City of Hamilton applicant.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 6, first reading of an ordinance involving a dedication plat for right-of-ways located South Hamilton Crossing.
An ordinance approving the attached dedication plat for public right-of-ways located at South Hamilton Crossing, SHX, 6th Ward, North Side, City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio. City of Hamilton applicant.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7, first reading of an ordinance involving vacating a portion of South East Street Alley.
An ordinance vacating a portion of South East Street Alley, portion between Ross Avenue Alley and Franklin Street, situated in the 1st Ward, South Side, City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio. City of Hamilton applicant.
Thank you. Agenda item number 8, first reading of an ordinance involving conveyance of property to self.
An ordinance approving the conveyance of certain real property located within the City of Hamilton, Ohio urban renewal area to support and encourage low-income families, self, at 227 North 11th Street.
Thank you. Go to agenda item number 9, emergency ordinance involving holiday leave.
An emergency ordinance amending section 181.27 of chapter 181 of the codified ordinances of the City of Hamilton, Ohio regarding holiday leave with pay and repealing section 181.27 as it currently exists.
Thank you. Go to agenda item number 10, 2 readings of an emergency ordinance involving an extension of the contract for sale, purchase of natural gas that was mentioned by Director Logan earlier.
An emergency ordinance waiving the requirements of Chapter 171 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Hamilton, Ohio, and authorizing the execution of an extension of the contract for sale and purchase of natural gas between the City of Hamilton, Ohio, and Constellation New Energy Gas Division, LLC, and related transaction documentation, including a transaction confirmation and an asset management agreement.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear,
I move that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Same.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 5-0, 1 abstention.
Okay. Second reading. Emergency ordinance. I don't know if we were able to do that with the abstention. We can't?
Guess with 5.
5? All right, second reading emergency ordinance then, please.
An emergency ordinance waiving the requirements of Chapter 171 of Codified Ordinances of the City of Hamilton, Ohio, and authorizing the execution of an extension of the contract for sales and purchase of a natural gas between the City of Hamilton, Ohio, and Constellation New Energy Gas Division, LLC, and related transaction documentation, including a transaction confirmation and an asset management agreement.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear,
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
motion made by Councilmember Fear, and usually we have the same person who made the first motion.
Oh, second, sorry.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Okay, so we've got it read. Any discussion about what was summarized by Jim Logan already earlier involving this natural gas contract? Any questions at all? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Can we now go to agenda item number 11, which is 2 readings of emergency ordinance. This involving the street resurfacing and concrete repair programs.
Emergency ordinance levying special assessments for public improvements in accordance with resolution numbers R 2018-1-1 adopted January 10, 2018, and R 2019-2-8 adopted February 13, 2019, relative to the construction and repair of existing sidewalks, curbs, and gutters on various streets and avenues in the city of Hamilton, Ohio. Final assessment rules for the 2017 and 2018 street resurfacing and concrete repair programs.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move that the rules be suspended and said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Pullman. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
The second reading of an emergency ordinance, please.
An emergency ordinance levying special assessments for public improvements in accordance with resolution numbers R 2018-1-1 adopted January 10, 2018, and R 2019-2-8 adopted February 13, 2019, relative to the construction and repair of existing sidewalks, curbs, and gutters on various streets and avenues in the city of Hamilton, Ohio. Final assessment rules for the 2017 and 2018 street resurfacing and concrete repair programs.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Pullman. Any discussion or comments about this particular legislation? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 12, resolution involving the 2019 concrete repair and resurfacing assessment roll.
A resolution ordering the resurfacing and repair of streets and concrete where necessary and appropriate on various streets and avenues in the city of Hamilton, Ohio, 2019 concrete repair and resurfacing program - assessment roll.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ryan.
move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ryan, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Any questions or comments about this one? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 6-0.
Okay, we go to agenda item number 13, a resolution involving a grant application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources.
A resolution authorizing, directing, and supporting the filing of a grant application with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR, Clean Ohio Trails Fund grant relative to the Miami to Miami Gilmore Ponds Trail.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Pullman.
make a motion that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Councilmember Ryan. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 14, it's a resolution involving the Energy Special Improvement District.
A resolution approving a petition amendment and initial plan amendment for the City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio, Energy Special Improvement District 1.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Fear. Any discussion about this one? Roll call, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 15, resolution also about Energy Special Improvement District.
A resolution repealing resolution number R 2019-5-27, a resolution declaring the necessity of acquiring and constructing certain public improvements in cooperation with the City of Hamilton, Butler County, Ohio, Engineering Special Improvement District 1, and the Hamilton Community Authority, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Fear.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Any discussion on this one prior to voting? Hearing none, roll call.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 6-0.
Thank you. We now go to audience of the city manager.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, we go to audience of council. Anybody have anything that they want to share? I got a few things I want to share. I'll try to make it go pretty quick, but on the pages of Believe It or Not, somebody from Hamilton, New Zealand visited Hamilton, Ohio. They were both Altruisans, had a kind of neat relationship, visiting Hamilton. I was saying that we're a city of sculpture. In the town of Hamilton, New Zealand, population of over 100,000, they've got sculptures. But one of theirs is to the guy who wrote Rocky Horror Picture Show. I thought that was kind of an amazing thing, but I'm sure there's one some guy named Hamilton somewhere as well. But Altruisans meet, do good things, but I thought that was just a little tidbit that you may want to know about Hamilton, New Zealand. Okay, from the pages of it's possible, we have to find some way to do it. I was speaking at Ridgewood Elementary School last week, and this young lady gives me a piece of paper, How to Help Hamilton by Gia Romas. There are many ways to help Hamilton. Here is one. I think you should add recycling bins to Hamilton School's lunchroom. You should add a recycling bin because every day we put stuff in the garbage that we're supposed to recycle, and that really affects our community. Another reason you should add a recycling bin is in the summer, the garbage stinks, and it ruins our summer. She got 10 out of 10 on that. She did a great job on this. But you know what? There's got to be some way, whether it's adopt a recycling bin or work at the schools to get Rumpke to put them in there for free. It makes a good idea. So stay tuned. I hope we can do something with that sooner or later, but I thought it was important enough that council hear this special thing that she gave to me to make sure that I made council aware that that was an issue. And that is possible, so we're going to have to all find some way to do that. Contact Mike Holbrook. We'll get that thing done somehow, some way, and give Gia all the compliments for doing it. Now, from the pages of it seems impossible, but it was done. I think all of council, and I got in the mail this magazine from the Archaeological Conservancy. It's all about Fortified Hill earthworks. If you recall, last year, Dr. Leipzig appeared and told us all about things that I sure as heck didn't know about. It got done. The article's in this national magazine. Everybody thought it was going to be impossible, but through the partnership of Pyramid Hill, Three Valleys Conservation Trust, an organization that raised money, Dr. Leipzig's leadership, it got done. That seemed to be impossible, but it got done. Along that same light, in the area of what seems to be impossible, but we should find some way to do it, is the fact that the city got a notice from CSX Transportation, basically about giving us notice that they may demolish the train station on Martin Luther King. And this is a station which has a lot of history in our city. Soldiers left from that train station in World War I. Some came home to cheers. Some came home as fatalities. And Abraham Lincoln spoke at that train station. Councilmember Fear led a group which had an historic marker made about that. Really a great day in Hamilton. If you get a chance to read a little bit about what he said, he just said some great things here in the city of Hamilton. Harry S. Truman, as president, spoke there in 1948. Not there, but very near to that train station. 1948, complimented Hamilton for what they accomplished during the wartime effort in World War II. And so that train station is actually part of us, it's part of our history, and that place truly matters. So we're hopefully working with CSX to come up with some kind of resolution on that, but we all need partners to accomplish something with that train station, and it's going to take a partnership, I believe, similar to Fortified Hill. It's going to take a lot of partners, just some entrepreneurs, some philanthropists. It's going to take a lot to get it done, but I thought it was important enough to say that at this council meeting that we've got a part of history that's being looked at to be demolished. Those are my little stories tonight, and we can do impossible things. We have done impossible things, and that's the challenge now. And we're also going to help out that student somehow get recycling bins. So. All right, any questions at all, anything else about what I said or anything else from council as far as during audience of council?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
So I had the pleasure of going to Washington the last couple of nights with city manager and infrastructure director. First of all, I want to thank Jim and Joshua for your continued leadership, your expertise in this field. It was an eye-opening experience for me on utilities, on how important our city operation is in DC. A lot of great conversations with some of the folks that are helping us out down there. And I do want to mention something I thought was very, very special. As we were sitting in Senator Portman's office, I was able to have a one-on-one with him. I was the last one to leave the room. And he said, so you're from Hamilton? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I just want to tell you one thing. Your city is by far the very definition of urban renewal, and keep up the great work. So I think that is a testament to my colleagues on council, the city employees that are working so hard. And I thought that was very special that finally, we are being noticed by folks in some pretty high places. So I just want to thank everybody for everything they've done for the city, from the volunteers, the city employees, and previous councils for definitely setting the stage.
We are known by our two U.S. senators. Senator Portman was here, I think it was last year sometime, to address some of the drug issues in our city. And he does his homework, and what he says is true, and he does know Hamilton, Ohio, as well as Senator Brown. So, thank you, Councilmember Ryan, for going to Washington, D.C. with our professionals. And I'm sure a lot of other cities wish they had what we have. Any other comments from
Mr. Mayor?
Please.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for the great letter you wrote to CSX, because that's, it was heartfelt, and it was, I appreciate you taking the time meeting with me on it too.
We worked on it.
And it's, it's a project, I know it's going to be a tough project to get done, but you took a lot of time writing the letter, and it was great. It was just, it's a very important part of our history, and I like to thank Tim Gillespie from History Depot too. He wrote a really thorough letter. If you want to know history, you got to go see Tim. He definitely knows it.
Sure.
He wrote a great letter on that too.
I knew where to go.
Yes, you did.
To get the history. And
got to go to him.
All right, a lot of positive things going on. We still have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do tonight still. Is that correct, City Manager?
That is, Mr. Mayor, we do have 3 items for executive session. The first is to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance. The second is to consider the purchase of property for public purposes or for the sale of property at competitive bidding if premature disclosure of information would give an unfair, competitive, or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest. And finally, to confer with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending court action.
Okay, regarding the request, item number 1, is there a motion that it's found that executive session is necessary to protect the interest of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Fear, second by Councilmember Brown. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Your motion that council recess the regular meeting to convene to executive session for those stated purposes, I believe 1, 3, and 4, as they were read into the record.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, seconded by Councilmember Ryan. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Okay, we go into executive session at 7:08. We'll come out of executive session just to adjourn the meeting. Public business is finished for this evening. Thank you very much for being here and being part of the process. Upstairs. Okay.
I'm telling you, and I go to her, she's a health food place in Fairfield. I go there.